Yes, sir.
Yeah, there we go now. Okay, tonight this is probably going to be my favorite show, and we haven't even started. It's going to be a pleasure to me. It's three gentlemen on here who I admire greatly. Byron, I've known the longest. Never met him in person, but I follow this stuff excellent. I'm going to enjoy that. Mr. Reid Hanson, my ex-editor, contributor to it's the Cowboys Wire, and he also writes for the Landry Hat. And my right-hand man, Dink,
What's up?
the funniest man that I know. This is going to be really, really, I'm going to enjoy this segment more than anything. These are three extremely knowledgeable football enthusiasts, sports enthusiasts. They're going to definitely bring something to the table beyond a casual take. So I'm going to have them introduce each other. Pimp your wares, gentlemen. Please tell everybody about yourself. I'm going to start it off with Reid. Introduce yourself. Give everybody a perspective real quick of who you are, and man, just a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah. I'm Reid Hanson. I've been a professional sports writer for going on 13 years. I've been working with Dink up until last year. We've been working together for probably 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. 2014. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we go way back. We've been doing this thing a long time. We've been with the highs and the lows. You can find me. I'm a daily contributor on Cowboys Wire. On Twitter, I'm Reid D Hanson, REID D Hanson. That's about it. The occasional posts on Landry Hat, but that's about it.
Got you. Thank you. Byron, you up next.
All right. I'm Byron Moten, born and raised here in Dallas, Fort Worth. I've been having a podcast named Most Sports Talk for the last 12 years. I have done media coverage for every sports team here. Rub elbows with John's favorite, John Jock Taylor. He's one of my mentors in the game. Pretty much all sports in general. We discuss all sports, yes, even bowling, cornhole, whatever you want. We gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So, been knowing John for like some years, via social media, and I respect everything that he has done as a person, and especially like with our sports opinions, we go back and forth sometimes, and he don't sugarcoat anything. I don't sugarcoat anything, and I love I'm a fan of all local sports here. And the thing with me is, hey, if you're bad, I'm gonna let you know. I don't let fandom just take over me, because once you learn about this team and what happens on the sidelines and in the front office, you will very much be content with them for the rest of the time. So, long story short, they don't run my blood pressure up anymore, so I'm good.
I got you. Okay, let people know, because a lot of people may not know you from Dallas.
Yeah, born and raised here, and been a Cowboys fan since '88. So of course I went through the 1-15 seasons, went through the '90s, through the Chan Galeys, the Dan Campos. I've been through the Chad Hutchinsons, the Clint Stoners. We went through all the spares. The Troy Hambricks. I can go on and on.
Yeah,
so
you went through it all. I understand.
I'm with it all. So I've been a fan through every era. I'm still a fan, of course, but when it comes to talking other sports, I don't just keep it local. I talk about all teams, all players, rub a few elbows with players. Right now, since the UFL has started, and I do media coverage for the Arlington Renegades. They won a championship last year as the XFL. So I got a chance to, see The Rock and Danny Garcia when it was here. They had the little press conference and stuff, and got a chance to ask him a question, shake his hand and stuff like that. Even though, people just calling him the final boss and talking about WrestleMania, I'm like, dude, this is not the time for that. But, all in all, just covering them for this season, covered them last season, still doing media coverage for the local teams here, and born and raised here.
Okay, this is gonna be good. Love it. Thank you. And the funniest man that I know, Dink.
What's up, man? I don't know about the funniest man. I leave that.
No, you're the funniest man I know. You're the funniest man I know.
Well, man, you ain't got no choice being a Dallas Cowboys fan, all right? But I'm a big time Dallas Cowboys fan. Like Reid said, I've known Reid since 2014. And that's when I started writing for Sport DFW. I remember talking to Reid from the beginning. I told him how passionate I was about the Dallas Cowboys. I've been a fan since I was 4 years old, 1977. And Reid told me this. He said, if you love the Dallas Cowboys that much, I'm going to get out your way and let you write. And that's what he did. That's what he did. And, we developed a friendship over 10 years. And he always encouraged me to keep writing and, pretty much gave me and yourself, John, free reign. That's one thing I liked about Reid.
Oh, absolutely.
He would give us ideas, but he let us have free reign in terms of doing what we had to do. So, shouts out to him for that, because I became a better writer because of that, the freedom he gave me. He said, hey, you want to write about this? Go ahead. Never stopped it, never grandstand or nothing, never had didn't have a big ego or nothing. If anything, he was like, hey, man, you keep writing this good, you're going to take my job. He'll say something funny like that, man. But like anybody know me, man, I'm a big Cowboys fan. Been one since 1977. Tony Dorsett, my favorite Dallas Cowboys player, because that's how I became a Cowboys fan. Watching him play this team, they had a little swirl on the helmet. I didn't know at the time what the team was, but that was the Rams. And the uniforms caught my attention. I've been a fan ever since. Just like Byron said, I've been through all the dark ages. You name it, I've been through it.
Oh, yes.
But this dark age we're going through now, I've not seen anything like this in the franchise history. That's a shame on Jerry Jones, because we'll never win this long without a Super Bowl ever. But I love all sports. I live in North Carolina, live in Durham, North Carolina. I'm from Raleigh. Big NC State Wolfpack fan. I do not like the Tar Heels. I do not like Duke. I don't know why people assume that when I leave the state, I go do a show. The first thing they ask me, do I like Duke or Carolina? And I say, hell to the no. I do not. They are not the only schools in this area. No, I'm a big Wolfpack fan, man. Jimmy Valvano, rest in peace. Love the Lakers. Sorry, Reid. I know you're a Mavericks fan.
Yep.
Mavericks fan right here too.
There we go.
And I got nothing against the Mavericks. I want y'all to win. Doncic is one of the best in the game, so I hope y'all can win it, because my Lakers definitely not going to do it. And I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm an actor.
Nice.
Writer / entrepreneur. I'm on shoe sales and stuff like that. But my passion is I love sports. I love the Cowboys. And like I said, it's nothing like being on a show with the same type of intelligent Cowboy fans, So
this is going to be a good one. Thank you. You're
welcome.
So we're going to get into it. We're going to be talking about the draft. We're going to go on a couple other topics, but because of what's going on, I'm going to start with Reid first. Where we are, things that Dallas have did. People are trying to anticipate what is the plan. So I'm going to ask you, gentlemen, based on the moves that you've seen or lack of moves, what are the plans for the Dallas Cowboys in 2024? You can start off, Reid.
Your guess is as good as mine, because what they're doing isn't improving the roster, because every step that they've taken has been to make the roster worse than it was last year. So I think the plan is really to spend as little cash as possible, to make as few commitments as possible, and then to give themselves the opportunity to reset the deck in 2025. I see shades of 2022, where they just kind of went through the motions of the offseason, and then they stumbled into success, and then they ramped up again in 2023. Only this time they have a chance to get out from the coaching staff free and clear and not have to pay a bill, which is why I think the coaching staff is still here. I think it's solely because Jerry doesn't want to pay a coach to not be here. And this will serve him through his contract, and it's a nice clean break. He doesn't have to say he fired anybody. It's just a break. We know he likes that. And then he can hire somebody else. I'd be shocked if the same coaching staff came back. So the way I see it is that this year is really just kind of going on cruise control, seeing they're probably going to stumble into the playoffs. Whatever happens, happens. They've said it multiple times. If we get into the playoffs, anything can happen. And I think they're going for that anything can happen because they worked hard. And Steven sounded bitter about, I tried really hard last year, and look what it got me. So now I'm not going to try, and we'll see what happens. That's basically, I'm obviously paraphrasing, but
no, I get you.
That is the vibe that I've got for this season.
Okay. So, which could be very true because I was wondering about the length of Zimmerman's contract, and I was a little surprised that it was just 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be a little bit longer than maybe, but that is true. Byron, how do you view
it? I think they're low-key rebuilding. That's how I really feel about the situation. I mean, I agree with Reid. Like, they don't want to spend no money on no coaches. They're pretty much penny pinching, which I expect that from Steven already as it is, since he took over the helm of Jerry. Jerry, he has his own segments here in the state. Like, I've never known an owner that has his own radio segments at least 2 or 3 times a day. So, that right there in his own just shows you one of the best sellers and marketers in NFL history. So now you have a situation where you have an owner and GM, which the owner is not going to fire the GM because that's Jerry Jones already as it is. And you also have Steven, who tries to make an approach of he wants to win things through the draft. That's not working. You're preventing your dad to spend money. You don't want to spend no money on coaches. And so now with this all in that he keeps saying, I feel like since, Dak hasn't had his contract yet, he's going to have to gamble on himself. I pretty much feel like he's out of here. Defensive coordinator is gone. You got Zimmer, and you also have lost a lot of key players on the defense. You also lost your center, which gone. Who also left. You know what I'm saying, along with the defensive coordinator. So as far as like what they're doing right now in the offseason, I'm not highly surprised following this team and how this front office is. Like, they're really trying to gamble on themselves, but you also have to understand this. They are the highest grossing team in the NFL and been like that for years. So he can sell you a prick off a cactus, and fans will still come to the game. Fans are still going to buy tickets. So no matter how this team is going to act and how it's going to turn out, like Reid said, they may stick into the playoffs, but I feel another first round exit because with the pieces that you didn't go after, which is one main guy I did want them to go after, but they never gave him a phone call. But for right now, I just feel like they're really rebuilding. So if Dak is gone, I won't be surprised. You got a situation where you got to pay CeeDee Lamb. You got to pay Michael Parsons. So are you going to pay those guys? So it's really, I just really feel like they're low-key rebuilding and they're not telling anybody. But it doesn't seem that way because they're the Dallas Cowboys. That's the only reason why it doesn't seem that way.
Okay, that's a good point. I'm going to go back and address what both of you were saying. Gink?
Well, as you can see, Jerry Jones is he's hype machine personified. What we're doing right now is what Jerry loves to hear. He don't care if it's bad news, good news, whatever. As long as we can talk about his beloved Dallas Cowboys, he's winning. Jerry's a smart man. I don't think I think he's gonna re-sign Dak, Michael, and CeeDee Lamb. I'm with Reid on this. I think if McCarthy don't pan out, easy break, he's going. He can say he didn't fire him. But this is just typical Dallas Cowboys. They don't want to spend any money. They want to build their team through the draft. And because Steven controls the money now, it seems, they're not going to be big spenders. They're going to build through the draft, and that's how they're going to do it. And they're going to let the chips fall where they fall. And if McCarthy don't pan out, hey, everybody's on a 1-year contract, they're out the door. I can't see them letting Dak go because you're not going to let a top 10 quarterback go. You just ain't. I'm sorry. I won't believe that until I see it. Same thing with Michael. They're going to keep him. They're going to keep CeeDee Lamb because they need money. They like money. Jerry understands how this works. He's a businessman. He can't have the star on the hammer if he ain't got no stars in the uniforms.
That's true. But as of late, they have been, I'm not going to say they've been doing anything good, but they've been a little bit different than before. But I don't want to dwell too much about what could go into 2025.
Well, and that's what I think this year is. They're going to stick to their model. They You see, they picked up a fringe running back who probably is used for depth purposes or maybe
it's a camp body.
Camp body. They're gonna draft. This is how it's gonna play out. They're gonna get all their needs in the draft, and if they can pick up a low-level free agent that's cheap, they're gonna do it. And that's
they already did that with the middle linebacker. He was
and they're gonna draft the running back. They're gonna draft the offensive tackle. They're gonna draft everything they need. They're gonna get it through the draft, and that's the game they're playing. They're not gonna be like Philly and go spend a bunch of money. They're not gonna play that game. But at the same time, they also are not going to the trifecta with Dak, Micah, and CD. They're gonna keep them. Jerry's gonna sign them because Jerry has to sign them. Jerry's not stupid. He has to have enough hope to sell us that he's going all in, and that's what's gonna happen. That's the way they're gonna play it. They're not gonna be big spenders. They're proving that they're not gonna they're not gonna get a Derrick Henry. They're not gonna do it. And they're gonna leave it up to the coaching staff. And the coaching staff fails, that's what they're gonna blame it on. They're never gonna blame it on themselves. But I think that's where the season's going. Everything we doing moving forward will be through the draft. That's how it's gonna work. And I think that's what we're gonna have to get used to.
Well, I mean, I'm a big draft fan, so I really don't have a problem with that. I just don't think they draft as well as their reputation at times. Like, to say that we're a great drafting team, I don't necessarily think that. Sometimes people make it seem like we're Bill Walsh back in his day when he would hit on the draft.
I think they say that in terms of the last decade, from let's say 2014 or something, from the time they drafted Zach Martin to now, they have their draft.
Yeah, their draft developmental team. That's been a really big thing for them. But I think the free agents that they've signed haven't been the key ones that they could have signed, and it's kind of failed.
But I will throw one glimmer of hope out there for us Cowboys fans. There are a couple of players we are expecting to play good this year, even though they didn't play last year because of injuries. I forgot the tight end. His name escapes me right now. They got hurt in camp.
Talking about Luke? Talking about Luke from Michigan?
No. The tight end. It was another.
You talking about Jonathan Stevens?
Jonathan Stevens. Overshown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you also got to think about the development of the wide receiver, Jalen. Man, I don't know Brooks. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to last year's class. We'll get to that last year's class.
I'm saying they're also banking on players like that. They're also expecting Ferguson to become a Pro Bowler this year. They're expecting Pendershot to get better. You got Shoemaker over there in the wings. So you got to look at how they're looking at it. And I think that's the approach they're having. That's why they're like, we're not going to sign nobody because we got these guys right here that's up and coming and do good development. In addition to the draft class they're going to do this year. So.
All right. I agree with that. I don't have a problem with it. It's just the front office is very shaky. So let's get let's get to the draft. What aspects should the Dallas Cowboys focus on improving for the upcoming draft? Reid?
I think they have to follow the strengths of the draft. The temptation is going to be there because they've created or allowed these holes to be created all over their roster. The temptation is to prioritize the needs and then draft accordingly. I look at it where what I want the draft to be is best player available, where you're looking at it opportunistically rather than by needs. Okay. So wait for the draft to fall to you and attack it accordingly. If that leaves you a hole somewhere, well, then you have yourself to blame for handling free agency. And there are a couple, they're cruddy options, but there's a couple options still in free agency, and we all know that they're gonna get some bargain free agents, and they're gonna do all right, and that's how they're gonna round out the roster. Because the way I count it, there's 5 starting positions up for grabs right now that they need to bring somebody in, and they've got 3 picks in the top 174. That's a problem. So something's going to go unfilled. So they might as well accept that and try to draft from strengths of the draft, which happens to be, I think you'll all agree, like left tackle is offensive tackle is a huge thing. Wide receiver is actually a strength. I wouldn't be mad. I know we don't necessarily need it like we need other positions, but we're going to need a wide receiver soon. And if a great option falls to me in the second round or something, I'll take that.
Okay.
Center is deep. Why not just ride that out and see what we can get at center somewhere? There's a couple other positions, and then the positions of weakness, even if you kind of need it, don't force the issue. That's really what I'm afraid of, is just forcing the issue.
You mean like the year they did for Taco?
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, because when they needed a defensive end, instead of getting the best pass rusher, they decided, let's go for traditional defensive end, and he probably got a third round grade as opposed to taking a guy who probably was a better playmaker. Mm-hmm. When you said 5 positions, starting positions, which ones are the ones that you're highlighting? Can you highlight that for us?
I'm looking at left tackle, center, defensive tackle, running back, and receiver. Those are because receiver, I see that we have 2 guys at the top, and then we have a whole bunch of guys competing for the number 3. And I count 11 personnel as starting. So,
who are the 2 guys at the top? I know one is CD. Who's the other?
Well, CD, and I got Brandon Cooks at the top.
Okay, and I think he's a number 3.
He would be better as a number 3. Yes, he would be better. I would love to have a real number 2, but I think so. I think the fall off. It's CD Lamb, big fall off. Brandon Cooks, big fall off. Jalen Tolbert, a couple other guys. I don't know who's going to win that.
Yeah, Tolbert has talent. We just haven't. I thought last year they was going to really ranch up more of his reps and really get up, but it's just his development has been very slow, in my opinion.
But do you all agree with me? I think Tolbert took good steps. It didn't show up in the stat sheet.
Yeah, I agree.
He looked much better. Like he could have. Okay.
Yeah, so I agree with you there. I thought he was open a lot of times. I thought he was doing everything that they asked him to do. You see the talent. It's just that I would have preferred if they would have really ranched up his reps a little bit earlier, just for his development. But I think he's going to make a big leap. Coming up this year. But I agree with all of that. But here's another one I'm just going to throw out there. What about defensive end? Because you got an Marcus Lawrence, and you have an undersized Michael Parsons. And then after that, I mean, you got Sam Williams, but he seems more like a rotational guy. Yeah, it's like if they had a top edge rusher fall in the first round, would you be against that?
I don't know. I certainly wouldn't. No, because I'm not because like I said before, I'm not looking at this as we've got to build a complete roster this year. I think it's impossible to build the ideal roster anymore. I think we've missed too many opportunities already. So let's get the right guys. So if somebody drops to us, or if we move back again and still get somebody, whatever, if our first pick ends up being a defensive end, that makes sense. There's no problem, because next year that defensive end is probably going to be a starter.
Gotcha. I'm with all of that. Byron.
I'm like Reid. I'm all about depth. Like let's fill these holes where, like all these players are gone. I totally agree with you with left tackle. Like you got to replace Tyron Smith. You got to replace your center. Like that right there should already be. I mean, seeing them draft linemen in the first round, second round, and so forth, cool. I really appreciate them doing that. You got to fill the voids. And I was always told on defense, you can never have enough defensive linemen. You can never have enough linebackers. So getting the edge rusher, I'm totally fine with that, because we had the Marcus Lawrence, you have a Michael Parsons, you have Michael Parsons playing all over the field. I get it. He's a fantastic dynamic defensive player, but I need him to last some years, okay? Because you're gonna run him to the ground. And losing Leighton Vander Esch to the neck injury, you got to fill that void. We did pick up another linebacker, cool, but I will appreciate them to draft another linebacker in the draft. Also, I'm gonna ask all you guys this: are you guys pro or against drafting another corner?
Pro. I've been talking about that. Pro, because I don't even know if Gilly's coming back, but regardless whether he does, I think Blaine is better as a slot, and then you have Diggs coming back, but that's off of ACL injury.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why
Lewis is undersized. Right,
that's the reason why I said that.
He haven't worked out, and Eric Scott they moved up for last year. He didn't have any reps last year.
Right, and that's why I said that, because I don't know how good mentally Diggs is going to be coming back physically, yeah, but at the same time, you had Bland that had a fantastic season as a fill-in. You got tape on him now, so
Yeah, he's not really.
he's
He's
not
not. Yeah, he's good, and I really like him, but I don't think he's the type of outside boundary corner they want. I think they want somebody a little bit more bigger. Because at the end of the season, you started to see some of his struggles against some of the bigger wide receivers.
Exactly. He filled Diggs' void very well. I give him that. But I wouldn't be against drafting a corner. We got 7 picks in the draft. Of course, get another running back. Now, getting Deuce Vaughn last season and not using him, that really bothered me a whole lot. It bothered me a whole lot because we have a Tony Pollard that's the feature back. He never been the feature back in his whole football career. Even when he was at Memphis, it was a 2 running back system. And so when you had Pollard and you had Zeke, who was also being forced to play on a bad knee as it was, and really forcing himself way out of Dallas anyway, you put all your eggs in one basket to Tony Pollard. So getting Deuce Vaughn, I thought that was going to be great for them because he's a smaller back, hard to tackle, can catch out the backfield, very fast, very quick. Never used him, and I never understood that. So, you like you said, for camp purposes, you got Rico Dowell, you got and I really like Malik Davis. I always like Malik Davis, but they never really used him like that. So drafting a running back, they will do that. But I'm all for getting left tackle, center, a corner, running back. Throw me a defensive end in there.
That's 5.
Throw me a linebacker in there.
6.
For my last pick, man, I'm so critical on offensive line right now because our offensive line is like old and fragile and depleted. Hey,
True.
get another lineman in there, man. Like we gotta protect this quarterback at all costs. I do agree with Ding. He's a top 10 quarterback, man.
Yeah.
And you talking about going all in, and Dak is already gonna be gambling and playing for himself. Protect this dude. Protect this dude. We need some run blocking. You can't zone block every game, okay? that crap doesn't work. I almost cursed, my bad. It doesn't work. So
I get you.
let's fill the void at offensive line. Let's get another corner here, another running back, and just don't try to go for the sexy pick. Don't try to trade up, trade down. Like Reid said, man. Hey, get who's available, man. Fill this depth up. We gotta get this done and get them coached up.
I agree. I agree.
I don't know. I'm sorry,
No.
John. One more fun fact about Taco Charlton. He plays for the Arlington Renegades.
Oh, I know. I saw him.
And I'm in the press box. They give you the roster sheet, and I'm looking. I was like, oh my God, he's here. I was like, well, hey, at least he's still in town.
No, we was watching, and my nephew, he said taco. I was like, what do you want to eat? He was like, oh, taco. He's like 9, but he knows football really well. I was like, well, he's like Taco, the ex-Cowboy player. I was like, really? He's on this? Yeah, I saw him. He had 2 sacks. Well, at least week 1. I think he had 2 sacks. Well, 1 he was completely unblocked.
Yeah,
but yeah, very interesting.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's still playing football.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said 3 offensive linemen. I'm not completely against that, but I would like to double down with linebacker. Like we lack depth there. We like.
Oh my!
There are guys on the roster last year that I thought we didn't play, like Tyrus Wheat. I just wanted to play him more, but like linebacker, we're like depleted.
That's why Michael was playing all over the field, and
right.
Like I said, we see what Michael can do on the field. I totally get it. He's great for that. That's why the defense was what they were for the last couple of seasons. Well, not the last few games of this season. That was horrible. But you got to protect your investment, man. I don't want him all over the field like that. Sometimes I get it, moving him around, because that's what Dan Quinn does anyway. But it's like he's such an incredible and important player on that defense, man. You got to save him for later. And if y'all going to pay him, please make sure he has depth behind him for that linebacker position to not play every rep, not play around the field every single time, not having them guard tight ends when teams run double tight end sets. Don't have him do all that stuff because he's going to get exposed. He's going to get tired. He's going to start complaining. He's going to start getting hurt. So
I've always
protect your
thought
investment.
Dallas should have been trying to find somebody like Justin Smith was to Alden Smith, someone who commands more of the double teams on that side to allow him to be freed up,
Yes.
to allow them to have a tight end or a running back against them, as opposed to him dealing with a left tackle or a right tackle, a dude who's like 300 plus pounds that he has to deal with constantly. Because as you see for the last 2 years, he wears down around week 13, 14, 15, which I understand. He's going up against guys who outweigh him so much. So absolutely great points there. Dick,
Yeah,
what are the
man.
aspects we need to prove?
We need to draft all the positions everybody talked about, from running back to left tackle, D tackle, wide receiver, everything. We gotta address it because we didn't do it in free agency. So we have to do it, but we definitely got to get a running back. We got to have a running back, bro. I believe we had a legitimate running game last year. They could beat San Francisco. They could beat Green Bay. And we got to have, like I like to call a miniature grizzly bear in the middle of defense. We got to have that one technique. I hope they can feed Mozzie and he can blow up like a grizzly bear. But if you see another grizzly bear in the draft, get him. I don't care if he's in the 2nd round, 8th round.
Yes, sir.
Grab him.
Yes, sir.
Because we have not been able to stop the run, man. I'm going to go back to the 1990s. Yes. We cannot stop the run for nothing.
Yes.
We can't. We got to get it. We got to get it, man. And going back to Reid said, best player available. If there's a cornerback there, grab him. Steal him. Take him off the shelf. Yes, because Diggs coming off of Achilles injury. We don't know how he's going to be.
Is it Achilles or ACL?
It's Achilles.
ACL. It's an ACL. Is it Achilles?
Yeah, it was Achilles.
I thought it was ACL.
Okay, I thought it was ACL.
Oh, it was ACL? Oh, my bad.
ACL, yeah.
Yeah, it's ACL, man.
Yeah, Achilles. Yeah, I'm really worried if it was Achilles. Yeah.
I thought it was Achilles, but
either one still.
He's coming off that.
Yeah, it is. It's just that I just think the advancement of medicine from an ACL injury has shown a lot, and the Achilles less so.
Yeah.
They're both debilitating.
Yeah,
but it's just seemed like the advancement has been. Now everybody's bodies are different, of course, but Achilles would really bother me. That's big time. That would rob him of a lot of his gifts. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, man, like Reid said, best player available if it's there. You got to take him, man, because we have a lot of holes to fill, and I don't think we're gonna sink like the Titanic. But if there's a bad man there, you got to grab him. You got to take him. You got to take him, man, because we have a lot of unknowns. You know, like I said earlier, up and coming players will know what they're gonna do. So I think we have to do that, man. But we got to get Dak. Got to get a running back, man, and we got to get that grizzly bear. You got to.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think running game, of course, with a nice offensive lineman, left tackle to protect that, we're good to go.
Do you guys think they can achieve these goals in the draft, this year's draft? Or is it going to take more than one draft to do this?
If anybody has Will McClay's number, maybe so. But as far as like how the Joneses are, of course they had a war room. People was in there. The final say so still goes to Jerry.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You good?
No, well, Will, he's proven he can find diamonds in the rough. He got Bland, so we can always lean on him finding somebody that we don't know about.
That's true. The only thing about that is we don't have Dan Quinn anymore. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad?
That's good. After getting beat by Green Bay, it's good.
Yeah, that's very good because that kind of reminded me of the Wade Phillips last game. So getting beat like that in the playoffs like that, that's very good that we moved on from him. But I agree, Dink, man. Finding diamonds in the rough, we're good for doing that. The problem is we'll name players that we felt like should have got some playing time on the field, and they wasn't played. And once they're gone, then we'll see them on another team doing great. I want the players that's here already and that you're going to draft tomorrow. I want them to get an opportunity and get a chance to prove that. Now, Mozzie Smith, that's a whole nother story for another day. And
we're going to talk about that, though.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, of course, but that didn't work out, which caused, like Dink said, man, hey, our run defense is bad. It's been bad for years. And that's one thing that we need to improve on. Very, very good. Now, being able to achieve that, it's kind of hard to say until these players actually touch the field and get on the field and play.
Of course.
But
I'm just saying
from an
optimistic standpoint, from a realistic standpoint, there are people who have did it. Very few, of course, but there have been some people that will address everything and they'll get it right within one draft. I mean, that hasn't happened here in a long time. But do you think, based on this draft, do you think they can achieve it? If everything falls, because I agree with Reid. I don't really like to move up in the draft. I prefer the things to come at you. I'm not a guy who likes to give away draft picks.
And it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen?
I can see a player falling, the best player available falling, like they did in 2020 with CeeDee.
Oh no, they do that every year. I think.
But I'm saying this year,
players. No, I think what I'm saying is players fall all the time. It's just that the reason I think the NFL, there's a lot of mediocre teams, a lot of teams draft bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're reach. You get a lot of quarterbacks who shouldn't get drafted, and then you see great players fall. And what I mean that 3 years from now, we're going to look back and everybody's going to say, "How did this guy fall?" Max Crosby, I think he was a 4th round pick, if I'm not mistaken, the same year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like players always fall, but teams either go, like what Reid is saying, they either go for need, and therefore they'll get a 6th rated player, and there's another guy that's so much better at his position. And like I told my friend Willie one time, talent will rise. It will rise, and you will find a way to play a guy. But I do agree with Byron. Sometimes you have position coaches who have their favorites, and it's like, why do you scout a player, develop a player, and then you don't play him? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, then you shouldn't even drafted this guy. He's sitting on the bench. So, but just based on that, but Brian, you're saying they can, Brian, maybe if it's possible.
It's possible. I'm not saying no.
No, I'm not saying they will.
Of course. I'm not saying they will because we're not going to know until they hit the field. But
exactly,
I'm going to be optimistic and I'm going to say yes.
Okay, Reid, you're much more sterner. Do you think they can achieve it? I'm not saying they will. I don't know.
Not as they are now. No, there's no chance in HE double hockey sticks. But
tell me why.
I think because again, I think their needs outnumber their draft picks, their resources. It's an unreasonable expectation. So I do bet that they're going to trade down. I think there might be 1 or 2 players that they'd be willing to take at 24, but I'm convinced that they are already committed to trading down and picking up some extra picks and maybe trading down twice.
Yeah, that 4th round pick that they gave up for a quarterback really is stinging right now.
Right, a quarterback for 1 year. I think that's what really gets me is not just for a developmental quarterback, a quarterback that you only have for 1 year, and we're probably never even going to see him. So that hurts.
Yeah, big time.
Thanks,
you're not gonna. Yeah, and you're not going
to work.
Yeah, you're not going to activate his 5th year option. That's $22 million.
No.
So, that's crazy. That was an impulse reaction, but they're very impulsive. At least Jerry is.
Yeah.
Dink, do you think it's possible?
No. It's just too many holes to fill. All we can do is just pray and hope, like I said before, that the players that's in the 2nd year, 3rd year, that they develop and take another step up. Which leads back to the receiver. I think we talked about this, John, the other day. About I didn't think about it at the time, but you said if Jake Ferguson takes that next level, he could be like that number 1A or number 1B to CeeDee Lamb's number 1A as complimentary receiver, kind of like Travis Kelce, KC. You know, I'm not saying he's Kelce, he's not, but I'm just saying if your wide receiver becomes that type of receiving threat, then that takes some pressure off CD.
I agree. That's how I felt about Ferguson this season too.
Yeah.
I felt like he was a good. I mean, Gallup had his struggles, but you see Tober coming along. But Jake Ferguson, to me, was the number 2 receiver on this football team. And
if I think he's going to take the Pro Bowl step next year. I really do. That I've seen enough for him to say he improved from year 1. Year 2 was good, and I can see him in year 3 really, really becoming a Pro Bowler. And like I said, you got Pendershot. You still got Shoemaker. And I'm going to tell you this. Go back and watch Shoemaker play at Michigan. The kid can play.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he can.
He can play.
I have.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. And one, I'm sorry.
He has potential to be really good. So I'm saying in terms of receiver, if Ferguson takes that next step, watch out. And then you got Tolbert. Maybe he can take another step where he's a legitimate number 2. Then things start working themselves out. But that's, like I said, that's a lot of hope. But I do think Ferguson will take that next step. I do believe he's going to take that next step.
He took a big step last year.
Yeah, and I think he took another step.
And I was happy. And I was happy about that too, because with Witten being here for so long and how he really was as a person, you really stumped the growth of depth at your tight end position.
Oh, absolutely.
Your tight ends would have been already good as it was if you actually stepped down and let them develop and actually coach them, motivate them, and put them in a position to be where you are.
Yeah,
He didn't want to do that, and that really bothered me.
Well, here's the thing, though. A friend of mine has always talked that about Jason Witten, and I've always said, well, I don't know a lot of players who will step down. So for me, I'm always looking at it as like, I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the coach, because it's kind of like, I don't care.
The coach be letting them do that stuff. Like,
exactly. So it's like
seniority. Okay, cool, I get it. But you're on your way out the door. You got Ferguson.
Not just that. It's just like if you got more explosive option. As a coach, you start to transition. So you start to let the aging player fade and you let the most explosive play. Because they had a lot of explosive players. We had James Hanna. We had Martellus Bennett. They were much more explosive than Witten. But Witten got the majority of the shit. I understand he's capable and all that. But to me, I just think they needed to make a transition. But that's been a thing with players in Dallas a lot, to me, in my opinion. You would probably have more of an insight of why that happens.
I mean, trust me, I do.
One day we're gonna get back on it. We're gonna try to stick with the draft, but I'm quite certain we can talk about that. It definitely much more.
Yeah, for sure. So when that tight end position is very important to me, and I feel like you drafted the best depth that you done had. Also naming Hanna, also naming Bennett, but at the same time, it's like you have these gatekeepers that's on this team and on this front office, where they want to just keep guys around, keep them lingering, make sure they're good. But you're gonna have to develop and rebuild your positions at some point down the line.
Oh, absolutely. And
sometimes they don't want to do that stuff, because it also be the coaches. And you see these diamond in the rough, and you see this tight end depth that you have. I like all the tight ends that we have. It just, the only problem is they never got a chance to get into the game or get any reps unless somebody gets hurt or you're just desperate enough to just try something new. It shouldn't be that way.
Or the year they did start to flash, and then they pulled Jason Witten out of a TV gig and bring him back for another year, which I didn't understand.
He traded that TV gig in at the same time he traded in his fake hair plug.
Dude, I was like, really, bro? Like, and he another fun fact about Jason Witten, he coaches here.
He coaches high school, right? He's a high school coach.
He's out here at Argyle coaching, and he's a good coach. But the hair is not there either. So the hair is and I was like, because the high school he coaches, that's where my son played 7-on-7 flag football.
Okay.
And so he'd be at the games and stuff, and sometimes and stuff like that too. So yeah.
Jason, I'm gonna have to fly down to Dallas and hang out with you during training camp. Definitely.
Yeah. Hey man.
Before we move off the Jake Ferguson thing, when was the last time you've seen a skill player on the Cowboys with so much heart and ability to pump everybody up, to change the tide? There's something I saw last season with the way Ferg played. He was so physical. Catch the ball, make a hit, do a hurdle, whatever. The way he pumped everybody up, even in good times or bad times or whatever, he was this heart level that just likened back to Michael Irvin. I'm trying to think of somebody else.
Dez Bryant.
Michael Irvin.
Dez.
Okay. Dez Bryant is the same thing Jake Ferguson did, Reid. Dez Bryant did the same thing. Not only that, he took up for his quarterback. Jake Ferguson will take up for Dak. I guarantee you. And
He'll
we have
protect him
seen
too.
heard
He'll
him that.
protect him too.
Yeah, he will protect him too. Yes, exactly. So Dez is the last person I've seen like that, but that same
Hey,
passion,
Ferg,
all of that.
yeah, Ferg one of the white boys that can fight. I'll put it like that. He'll fight
Yeah.
anybody.
Oh, he sure will.
Yeah,
he
he
sure
is-
will.
he is
He's shown that.
That's bar fight right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's nasty.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. I'm telling you.
Hey,
Don't mess
I'm
with him.
telling you, he's gonna take that next step, and when he do, watch out.
Mm-hmm. Leave him
Watch out.
alone.
That guy's gonna be good.
Yes.
No, absolutely. I agree. I like Jake. I thought he was one of
The
the better
Cowboys got a good
Cowboys in
tight
the
end room.
playoffs.
That tight end room might be the best positioning group on the whole team.
Yes.
It might
I
be.
agree.
It might
might
be.
We'll see.
They just got to use them, Dink, man. Just use them.
Well,
That's
if
all I
McCarthy
ask
don't want
for.
to go, if McCarthy don't want to go home and eat hamburgers all the time, big like Wimpy, he will do that. He will use them.
Well, we'll get to that because I think that's something he should have did last year.
Oh,
All right,
man.
so I have two things. I'm going to get back to the coaching staff, but a little bit later. Is it premature to view last year's draft as a failure? I know a lot of casual fans like to throw the word bust around with players too quickly. I'm not like that. I think the first year is just too quick. Reid gets really into it. I want to get Reid's take on this. Is it too? For me, it is. I'm already saying that. I don't do that. I wait to the third year. But for what you saw or what we did not see, is it premature to just say last year's class was a failure?
I think it's premature to say that they're destined for failure. What I really like to focus, and that's how I do my writing and everything, my whole take. I try to mold it where I try to say what it is and what it can be and what it takes to get to can be. Okay, so what it was a terrible, terrible season. ESPN rated this draft class the worst in the NFL, and I don't think many Cowboys fans will disagree with that. They got virtually nothing from their top 3 rounds. That doesn't mean that they're destined to fail, but it does mean that they're on a trajectory that is horrible, and it's going to take almost an act of God to get it into, say, good territory. So it's going to take a lot of change. Now, there's reason to be optimistic. Mozzie Smith went on a diet inexplicably. We assume he was told to go on a diet and play 3 tech. And we're assuming that has changed and he's revving up to play 1 tech this year. So that is reason for optimism, that he's playing a more natural position. At the very least, if he just acts as a trash can full of dirt in the middle, it will be better than what we had last year. Schoonmaker, it's you guys touched on it before. It doesn't make sense that he struggled so much in run blocking when that was his bread and butter as a prospect coming in. The whole profile was, okay, if you're banking on this guy to be a complete tight end, you might be disappointed. But if you need somebody who can hit the ground running, execute all the blocks, this is your guy. And for some reason, he could not put that together. And I think that was a big reason that our running game struggled so much, is none of our tight ends could block. Even I didn't even like Jake Ferguson's blocking. Yeah. And I don't think Hendershot's ever. Yeah. So
Hendershot, he's not a blocker.
Right.
At all.
But looking at the film, I always go back to this. And this kind of got me caught in a Mo Claiborne trap many years ago, where I just kept going back and looking at the film and going, it doesn't make sense. He shouldn't stink.
Right.
I'm looking at this. He's a good player. He has to realize he's a good player and be a good player. So I always held hope. The same thing with Schoonmaker. Like, I know he can be a good blocker. He might not ever be Ferguson downfield making catches. He has an athletic profile that can, but he may never be that guy. I know he can be the blocker. So that's reason for optimism there. Right. And then you look at Overshown. I'll stop at Overshown, but lots of reasons for optimism there. He was a huge standout. He's a very smart player. He wore the green dot in relief. To give that to a rookie, like that's fantastic. You could tell that the stage wasn't too big for him, and that's a huge thing. When the kids come in from college to pros, it's natural to be a little overwhelmed and to take a little while to get up to speed. He didn't take any time to get up to speed. He was at speed. He was dominating. So I'm hesitant because we're basing our whole prediction for Overshown, all of our expectations for Overshown, based on preseason play, coming off an injury. Yeah. But I haven't seen anything bad from him ever, so there's no reason to not be optimistic.
Right.
So to summarize, I think the class was terrible. I think they performed terribly. They deserve all the shade. But there's no reason to call them bust because there's reasons for optimism. There's reason that they can turn it around. The circumstances around them are changing. So I'm by no means saying that they're going to be busts.
Gotcha. And you covered it very well. I don't have nothing to add to that, but I'm going to let Dink and I'm going to let Byron add something. Byron?
I mean, the word bust and all this is the word is so overrated, and I hate that people just want to just kick players to the curb after one season or after one play, after one game. You know what I'm saying? Or he gets hurt. Oh, he was a bust. I'm like, how the hell he was a bust? He got hurt. He can't prove himself on the field. You know what I'm saying? And I hate stuff like that. I do agree with Reid. Draft class last year was terrible. I want to use another word, but I'm not going to use it. And, you know, I just let players play against their rookie contract. When it comes at the end of their rookie contract and they haven't exceeded their expectations getting drafted, then yeah, they're a failure. I may call them a bust then because that's like 3-4 years down the line already.
Exactly.
But now, you know, is people are so in a rush to get on social media to say something just to, you know, mark everybody off. Like, I hate stuff like that. You do know this league is all about development. It's all about, I mean, the expectancy of the NFL is maybe what an average 3 years already at the most.
3.5 the
Like
last
3.5. And so like you can't just give these like write these players off like that. You got to give players a chance. And a lot of people don't. Like with Bossy Smith, I mean, of course, he's tops on my list, like just being just crap. But you know, like we said, put him on a diet. He, you know, 3 technique. Hopefully next season he'll improve and he'll get his starting spot back. So we'll see about that. But as far as like everybody else from last season, man, I didn't really see anything like that. And it's only one season. They got 2 or 3 more to go. Let's see what this coach is going to do. Let's see if they're going to actually play some games outside of the preseason games so they can really prove themselves to really see how the 2023 draft really just pans out.
Okay. I agree with you. Dick?
Yeah, it's not a bust. Too early to call him a bust. A lot of these guys like question marks beside him. Like I said, Bossy Smith, they told a grizzly bear to go on a diet. Who does that? Then
Hold on, I have to interject because I've been hearing about that really quick. Was he told to go on a diet, or did he go on a diet himself?
Yeah, that came from Dan Quinn supposedly. Yeah.
The rumor is it was Dan Quinn that wanted him to slim down to play 3 tech, and then the justification for that, or the explanation of why that's a valid rumor is if you don't meet the weight limit, you are fined, and he never showed up on any fine reports.
Never.
So you can't lose that much weight and not meet, like, because everybody has their own like physical thresholds that they have to play within or they get fined.
Yes.
And he went so far outside a standard that we would see fines coming in and no fines ever came in. So it must have been a team approved weight loss. Unconfirmed.
And that's weird to me because when I first seen him in person,
that guy he's not fat.
That's what I'm saying. He's not overweight. He was
Right.
Dude tall as hell. Like his body was built for his weight. That's the position that he played in college. So
if he's losing weight, then he's probably cutting in the muscle.
Dude, yes, exactly. Yeah. So he wasn't
overweight.
Like
350, something like that.
Yeah, he wasn't overweight at all when I seen him in person.
Nah,
he was fine.
He's in shape. I mean,
Quinn made him do that crap, and I'm like, okay, dude, but see, just the thing is, making him lose weight like that, you're taking him out what he really was, and that's a defensive tackle. And now you got to learn how to, lose weight, play something else, do all this stuff over again. Like you learn a whole new position. So I guess, with this weight loss and stuff like that, we'll see, man. I just feel like it wasn't needed for him to do that.
Yeah. No, I think Zimmerman is a good addition. It's just, I have a different opinion about the coaching staff. As you were saying, Dick?
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's not a bust yet. Last year I give them an F, but there's still hope. They didn't use Deuce Vaughn right. You know what happened to Mozzie? Like Reid said, it was Schoonmaker. He played on the hardball. That's all he did was block. So I don't know what the problem is there. But there's still hope and optimism moving forward. 3-4 years down the road, they don't pan out. We can call it a bust. But there's still optimism. So I think everything will work out. I think Overjohn can do something. So we just got to wait and see. I can't call it a bust just yet. Just yet, Because some of this stuff was because of the coaches. Dan Quinn wanted to be Benedict Arnold, make the guy lose weight. You didn't use Deuce Vaughn. I would never understand why they didn't use him more. So
all right. I know we're talking the draft, but I wanted to revisit one thing.
Yeah,
I do agree with Reid. Jerry will never pay coaches money, but based off of what you saw in the last game, if you guys were the GMs, would you have brought the coaching staff back?
No.
Reid?
Nope.
Dink?
I will brought back McCarthy. Everybody else had to go. Everybody.
You would have brought McCarthy back?
I'm gonna tell you why. And y'all got to go with me on this. And Reid know this better than anybody. He coached the Grinch from Green Bay, and when he was in Green Bay, the dude could coach. I gotta call a spade a spade. He could.
Not only did
he own us, but he played in a very decent division that he won on a regular basis. And I'm just trying to see okay, McCarthy, you showed me you can win with a backup quarterback. I seen you coaching. We had 3 straight years, 12-win seasons. We sent Tom Brady home. So I just okay, I know you got it in you, big boy. I know it's in you.
Yeah, but the only thing is, I've been hearing what Reid and I've been hearing what Byron is talking about, and we're looking at players and we're saying, what's wrong with their development? Or why hasn't this? I mean, I give McCarthy Cooper Rush. He's improved him. But the overall team, it doesn't seem to reflect the team I saw, like his teams in Green Bay, which was
that's what I'm like, he give us hope because we done won 3 straight 12-win seasons.
Yeah, but we're one of the most undisciplined teams.
I know.
Never seem like we're very smart. Our intensity comes down. We don't seem to have any accountability. They're just things that are just alarming to me. He's the head coach. How could you go into the season and you got 205-pound players playing linebacker? That's a head coach.
That's the anomaly. That's what I don't understand with McCarthy, and that's why after this year, if things don't pan out, I'm fine with him going. But I'm looking at the guy that coached the Green Bay, and I'm like, bro, where are you? I mean, I've seen flashes of it. You shown it.
It's flashes, but see, Dink, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You're looking at him in Green Bay with that front office, with that, ownership in Green Bay. What he did with Aaron Rodgers, he's won a Super Bowl with this man. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best.
Developed Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
He developed it, exactly. He developed Aaron Rodgers. He won a Super Bowl with 12 or 13 players on the injury list.
Yep. Right.
Now, if I don't know that's good coaching, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, he can coach.
But he can coach. He can coach. When he was in Green Bay, where he had more control than anything to do what he want to do with his players on that sideline, he doesn't have that here.
I absolutely agree with you. Now, I agree with you on that. The problem I have with it, I'm not doing the job. He did it, but I have 2 things. I don't want a coach who's just happy to have the job. I like to have a coach that wants to win. And what I mean by that is that if the front office don't want to give you what you want to get, and I get it, I'm not in his position. He wants to get the job. And you should just tell him, I'm not the right man for you.
But see, the thing is, McCarthy wants to win. I'm not saying that he doesn't.
No,
but you're dealing with an owner and a GM that wants to sell.
I absolutely agree with you on that. I think the last guy who came in and said we're doing things my way was Parcells.
Mm-hmm. And you see how long he lasted with that.
Absolutely, because of the ego of the owner. So yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, because everyone else, I used to tell people are not going to come here because they want to be the person that deals with football matters, and the only ones want to do that. But we can do a show about that another day. We're going to stay with the draft. So, what would be the most favorable outcome for you gentlemen to come out of this draft? I know we still have to wait for them to get on the field, but based off of what we've seen, the prospects we've seen, what would make you say, okay, this is a successful draft? This appears to be a successful draft. What would have to happen to make that favorable? I'm going to go with Reid Hanson again to start out. What would have to happen?
I would like to see left tackle addressed immediately, because I don't think offensive tackle is a position that you can reliably draft outside the top 50 and expect to get any kind of traction. So it's kind of first round or bust with that. If it's not done, then you have to move Tyler Smith, and I'm not completely opposed to moving Tyler Smith to left tackle, but I don't think we expect him to be as good of a left tackle as he is a guard. And given our division and the quality of interior defensive players that we're regularly playing against, I think the guard has more value than it traditionally does. I'm a big on positional value. I prefer tackle way more than guard. I think it's crazy to use a first round pick on drafting a guard, but I think given the circumstances within our division, it makes sense to have our greatest player playing in the middle. So I would like to.
Yes.
Okay,
No,
I would
go
like
ahead,
to
go
see. I would like to see a tackle picked right away, and then as the draft unfolds, I mean, I'm like anybody else. I've got my favorite players that I would like to see picked up. My nightmare scenario then is or are we?
Hold on.
Let's
Hold on. Let's stay with dream scenario first. We'll get to the nightmare later.
So dream scenario is
right.
we find the big guy in the middle, the grizzly bear. We find somebody there because we want Mazi Smith. We're not giving up on Mazi Smith, but he played the fewest tackles of a first round pick in Dallas since the great Bobby Carpenter graced these halls, right? So that's a bad sign. Yeah, Taco Charlton was more of a contributor than Mazi was. So
Unfortunately he was.
Yeah. So I want to add somebody else to there. And unfortunately there's not a whole lot of great big pluggers, like one technique guys in this draft. And the one great one that's there is coming with some red flags, which could be a Blue Star special. Who knows? But I would like to see defensive tackle taken care of. I'd like to see offensive tackle taken care of. I don't believe in Brock Hoffman as a viable center. I see him more as like a Joe Looney kind of guy where, hey, he's a good backup to have. But you're in trouble if you're
with that. Right. Nothing's wrong with a backup.
Right.
But I agree with you.
Yep. And I think TJ Bass, I know that there's talk of TJ Bass taking over and or competing at center with Brock Hoffman if the two guard spots are taken care of, then moving TJ Bass and having him compete. But I think Bass's long-term place is going to be at right guard because I only see Zach Martin playing one more year.
Yes.
So I think they're going to want to keep him at guard, and you know, whether that's left guard now or right guard later, I don't know. But and still addressing things opportunistically. So without saying a whole bunch of specific players, because
actually, I would like, because you did a great article that I read today where you're talking about the type of offensive lineman at Dallas. Can you drop those two names? One was Mims. I forgot the other one because you was completely, if you don't mind, dropping those two names.
Yes, it was Mims and it was Kingsley from BYU. So guys that fit the Dallas profile, you can go back and look at the different, like the RAS scores of all of these prospects going back to 2011. And this is not so helpful for some teams who switch GMs all the time and decision makers. But for Dallas, this is great because we don't switch our decision makers. They stay there. So we can go back and look at a lot of data and have a nice sample size to, you know, come up with conclusions. So based on that, offensive tackles, the Cowboys really like athletic guys, tall guys, great reach. They like all the measurables. And that includes speed. They really like speed. It kind of signals, you know, explosiveness and movement. Whereas you're looking at compare that to center, because center is another popular position that we're drafting in the first round. In fact, if I put my money on it, I think the Cowboys might really be looking center. Center doesn't have those traits. They don't traditionally hunt super athletic guys. And that includes Travis Frederick in those numbers. So typically they're going for size at center, like over 212 pounds or something like that. So they're looking for big guys, which tells us that, Van Pran Granger from Georgia, who I like as a prospect quite a bit, he might not be, based on their previous history, he might not be on their radar. They might just be looking at the bigger guys. But yeah, so the tackle prospects being Mims, who I absolutely adore. He is one of my favorite guys, even though he has big risk but big reward. And then Kingsley, who would be a trade down scenario. I don't think the consensus board has him at like 42, I think. So he would be a trade down to so if we traded back with Kansas City to pick up at a 3 and a 4, Kingsley could be a suitable guy. He's got left tackle experience. I talked to my buddy who does some scouting over with the Browns, and he gave him the thumbs up. He's like, he's a day one starter. You can do it. He's going to have growing pains, but he's a good guy to groom.
He's pretty nasty too. He has a nice.
Let me ask you this: what do you think about Graham Barton out of Duke? If the Cowboys get him?
Yes,
I love Graham Barton. I think he's at the top of. I think he's one of the 2 or 3 players that the Cowboys won't trade back from. I think if he falls to them, they're picking him. And I like him so much as a prospect. I think he's so safe of a pick.
He's a good
and
man.
I hate the idea of drafting a center in the first round, but
we need it.
I'm not going to hate him. I'm going to easily abandon.
He's better than Hoffman, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, it's a huge step up, right?
Yes.
If you look at the impact of the new guy versus the old guy.
But you know what? I don't want to be bad on Hoffman. He's a backup. There's nothing wrong with quality depth, and I think when he did start for us, he gave us a chance to win. So I had no problem.
Yeah. He's not awful. He's not awful.
Yeah, but I agree with Reid. I think trying to make him the starter that wouldn't be the way to go. I don't think that's the way to go.
Right.
But having him as a quality backup, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Barton he's nice. Go ahead, Reid. Continue.
Yeah, I think that covers it. Without getting too deep down, unless you want to get into deeper sleepers later.
No, I like deep. I want deep. So for the interior, you said there's not many to choose from. Ideally, dream scenario,
I don't.
Of course.
Yeah.
Who would you approve of if from a dream scenario standpoint, whether they went first round or second round, or do you think they should wait in the third and later to find something? Right. But I agree with you. I don't see a lot of guys that I can see that's there. I don't know if this is the type of class for that, but
this isn't a good class. No.
Yeah, I don't see it like that.
It's going to have to be a situation where they know personally, because a lot of the one techs in this class come with certain questions about attitude, work ethic, which isn't uncommon for one techs. The body type kind of tells you that. It's not uncommon. So it would really come down to interviews. Like, is this somebody that we can motivate? Is this somebody who's going to work hard, who's going to, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to come down to those personal interviews that we don't get to be a part of, because I don't know exactly how these guys profile. With that said, Sweat from Texas comes with all the red flags, but if he drops, and he's dropping into the third round now, and he's a top 30 talent, if he drops into the third round, which they're saying he is, I wouldn't mind risking it on him, even though I know that he is going to be problematic and we might not be able to justify re-signing him beyond this rookie deal. I think he has that kind of impact. And for a third rounder, he has that kind of impact for 4 years. I think he's a day one starter at One Tech. Immediately come in and do it.
Absolutely.
So he's my guilty, and I've written about him probably too. KD Drummond is probably sick of me writing about him. Like, maybe
that's why I wanted you to get into detail, because I read you writing about him a lot. But I think Zim could be a really good coach for him, though.
I'm sorry, what?
Zim, I think Zim could be an ideal coach for some players that may or may not have problems. Because I know he's going to really get into people.
Right.
And unlike Dan, none of these guys are his friends, and he's not going to be a friend to any player.
I've been critical of Dan. I've been critical of Dan because of he's a cool guy. He's one of the guys. He's hanging out. He's man, all this cool stuff. And Zim is going to come in like a curmudgeon and no one's gonna like him, and that is my guy.
Yeah, I like that.
And you know what? At one point, I thought they were going to sign him to a 3-year deal, which would have made me think if they whacked McCarthy, that he would be the next head coach.
Right. No, that surprised me too, and that told me they're
yeah.
really keeping their options open. That's what that told me.
Makes me think whether, but we'll talk more about that like later on, depending on how the season is, because we have no idea how this can play out.
Right.
Is that it? Is that anything else? Any more dream scenario, or can I throw?
Well,
ask you. Go ahead.
There's other players that, like, I love the center depth. I like that, like, each round there's a good center option, and I like a lot of them. Now you're getting close. The top 3 stand out above the rest. Top 3 centers are all going to upgrade the unit on day 1. But beyond that, now we're looking at, are they better than Tyler Biadasz? Are they the same as Tyler Biadasz? But I think there's about 4 or 5 guys in that middle tier that are all about, they're not going to be worse than Tyler Biadasz. And I feel pretty good about that. Getting a cheap person to come in, and a bunch of them are really smart. I know Tyler struggled a little bit with the calls and his development, and I know Zach Martin had to help him out. A lot of these guys I know can come in and handle the mental aspects of the job. I really like the Penn State kid, Norzad.
I love him.
He's my favorite idea. And then Tanner, obviously linked to us quite a bit from Wisconsin, because we always pick Wisconsin guys. But Norzad's my guy, and he's a 3rd, 4th rounder. I know some people have him dropping in the 5th, but that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I just can't see how he could possibly fall. And then I'm not even ruling out the idea of Malachi Corley in the 2nd round if he fell somehow. The Cowboys scouted 1 wide receiver with the 30 visits, and that was Corley.
Do you like him?
I do like him. He's a fun guy to watch. And even though I write about exactly every year somebody is dubbed the next Deebo Samuel, and every year that guy doesn't even come close to being the next Deebo Samuel. Well, here's the next Deebo Samuel.
This kid kind of shows some flat. I'm not going to say he's going to be Deebo, but he does play
he
a
can be used
similar.
many of the same ways.
Yes, he can.
And as long as you have a creative coach to use him, not that we have one that can use him this year, but this would be an investment for the future if we did. Virtually half the coaches in the NFL, offensive coaches in the NFL right now, come from the Shanahan coaching tree, who all know how to use him. So there's a good chance that somebody Shanahan-esque will come in and be able to do something. And that's my dream. My dream is to have some kind of Shanahan coach. I just sit there and I watch 49ers things and swear all day. I just watch plays and swear.
I got you. Okay, so I'm going to ask you one other thing. And, of course, you guys can answer after Reid. I think since 2016, Dak has not had what I think an engine in the machine, like a real, true, complete running back. Out of all the running backs, and I'm not saying any of them are Ezekiel Elliott, who would be the best fit for us in Dallas, and why?
Well, the top guy on my board is Jonathan Brooks, and I don't like drafting running backs early. I see them as replaceable parts, and I don't like the idea of using a 2nd rounder. But pick 56 isn't bad to get running back 1 in the draft. So much like the Graham Barton thing, kind of, this would be a double doozy of me just abandoning all principles. We draft a center, and I'm just like, oh man, after writing so much about how dumb that is, and I'm like, I like it. I like Graham. And then we go to round 2, and then we draft Brooks. I'd be like, oh, that's so stupid. I like him though. This is gonna work. And then but I guess I am a college Notre Dame fan, and I like Estime. I like Estime quite a bit in the 4th round. I think that's high value. But I want a bruiser. I want a big guy. I don't want a little guy. We got enough. What
about Braylon Allen, the kid from Wisconsin?
I like his numbers. I like his size. His highlights are cool. I don't know if he's really creating much on his own. I'm very skeptical of him. His rushing yards over expected are negative, so he's taking a little less than what his blocking is giving him, and that's troublesome. And his numbers on zone runs. So we run a lot of inside and outside zone, mostly inside zone. his numbers in zone aren't great running.
I agree.
So I'm not huge on. I'm not big fan of his. I'm not opposed to it. There's reasons to like him, but I see problems.
No, I agree. I saw highlights of him, somebody I know, and then I started watching games, and then he just kind of just went off my board. Trey Benson.
I like him.
Yeah,
I like him. Yep. And his numbers correspond. He's got good rushing yards over expected. He gets more than what he's blocked for, and he's good on zone run schemes.
Yeah, so I think he would be a great fit if they decide to go for somewhere else. All right, that's good stuff. So tackle, running back, center, or tackle, center, running back. Either way would be fine, long as we get somebody to fit all of those particular holes. So that would be a dream scenario.
And I think that can trickle down into the 4th round too. Like I think you can just plug in a wild card everywhere there too.
Well, we don't have a 4th round pick.
I think we're going to have one.
Okay. All right. I hope so. I don't like that. I didn't like the trade. I like to get quarterbacks, but I just thought that trade based on the years, I just thought that was just an impulsive trade.
I agree.
If you was going to do that last year, you should have just drafted. What we have 12 picks last year? I think we had 12. 10.
Yeah,
that's what you should have gotten your quarterback last year. Your young developmental quarterback last year. All you wanted to do was get somebody more talented than Cooper Rush. For Jerry to throw away a 4th round pick, man.
So, and the problem is, I think they were kind of looking at it just like running back. They wanted a running back. They wanted a quarterback potentially, but they valued them too low. And each time they planned to get one, it got drafted a round earlier than they planned. And that's why I'm very concerned that they're going to overdraft a running back this year, because they can't afford to have happen last year happen again.
Yes.
You know what? You're correct. Now, I will say this. If they do things the way McCarthy liked to do, they may not do offensive linemen early. Because I remember those Packer teams, 4 of the 5 guys he had, 2 were 5th rounders and 2 were 6th rounders.
Yep.
I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, because we have to remember he found Terrence Steele and he jettisoned Collins, and a lot of people thought that wouldn't work. And of course, Steele struggled last year, but that was off an injury. But before that, I'm not going to say he was like a top 2, but he was ascending. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have like McCarthy let him do it his way. I wouldn't be surprised if they draft an offensive lineman in the 3rd round as opposed to the 1st. But I think this class is too talent rich.
Yeah,
I think it's just too talent rich. I don't think you even have to reach, but I do think there's going to be a stud at tackle at 24 or 26 or 28.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they have to reach. And I agree with you, Reid. There's a lot of running backs who will fit. And I love that you mentioned zone running, because I always tell people, you try to, and there are plenty of backs that will fit that, and you will just keep moving. And I think you can find a guy in the 4th round. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I think you can find a guy in the 5th round, running back wise, that'll come in and be better than what we have right now as far as a starter, and would be a day 1 starter. But that's whether or not I am concerned, like you, that they may reach for some positions that they don't necessarily need to reach for.
Yeah.
And
hopefully the coaching staff has little to no influence on the draft picks, because they're all lame ducks.
Because I was going to ask you that too. Do you got? I mean, Byron, you're more in tune. I know Reid knows people. Are there times that the scouts get overruled by the coaches? Because sometimes it seems that way to my eyes, like from the outside. It seemed like they scouted a particular player, and a coach will say, "I like this," and then Jerry would just let that be the case, as opposed to these guys have been scouting players for years, and the coach just been around a guy for 2 weeks. It's kind of reminded me of Tristan Hill. I understand they was looking for a 3 tech, but you could have got a safety that year.
Yeah,
there was a lot of guys that were just safeties that would have fit that a weakness, and you could have just came back later and grabbed someone later. Is that true, or is that just stuff I'm thinking in my head?
No, it's not stuff that you're thinking in your head at all. Because just look at how long it took to develop the safety position.
Man.
And you have the greatness of Will McClay, who's been an incredible scout for the Dallas Cowboys forever. Even when Brian Broaddus was around, he was a scout for Dallas also as well. He was an incredible scout also too. But when you get into that war room, and once again, I love Mike McCarthy and Green Bay, Dink. But when you get into that war room and you're dealing with them Joneses, they're going to always have that final say-so. It's been plenty of situations and plenty of times where they have players on the board ready to roll, ready to go. But like I said, it comes down to the Joneses. Well, it's more Steven now than Jerry. Jerry, he's the mouthpiece, of course. But just hearing and just seeing that stuff all the time, and when you get to this draft now, and also just found out they did talk to Zeke's representatives today. So we may see. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
please.
I got to do it. They get him doing a video about him. I'm do a video. Go ahead. Please do, and please let me know when you do it. But it's like stuff like that, man. Come on, man. And so it's like you rather not draft a running back with these 7 picks that you have, and bring back someone.
Please tell me you punked us.
That you cut and made him play on a bad knee. So I'm just saying, hey, the representatives did reach out to him. They did have a conversation. But as far as like when Reid had went to, the dreams scenarios for the draft, fantastic job, by the way. I love every person that you picked.
Oh, great.
But with the
hold on. We're gonna stay dream scenario. Next scenario is nightmare scenario.
Okay, cool.
So give me your dream scenario first.
I mean, he really named it for me. It was Graham Barton, because I'm real big on protecting his quarterback now.
Oh, I agree.
And with Biotis being gone, Tyron Smith is being gone. I don't want them to be moving Tyler Smith like that, because they will do that crap. And
I prefer to keep him inside. We're dealing with the Jada Carters. We're dealing with the Bama boys at Washington. We're dealing with a lot of guys. We're dealing with the guys at San Fran. Those are guys we're going to be dealing with. So he shut down Jalen Carter last year. So I would prefer to keep him inside. This is a talent-rich tackle class.
Yes, it is, and that's why I like it. Like, get your man. Look, get Graham Barton. Get your center. Like, Dak been sacked too many damn times, okay? And with this offensive line, keep getting older, keep getting hurt. I'm real big on that. I don't mind them drafting a lineman in the first round at all. It doesn't bother me. It bothers a lot of people. It bothers a lot of people because it's not the sexy pick, or they need to trade up and get this guy. You need to think about keeping your quarterback upright. You need to think about developing some kind of running game that you do not have. And that really needs to work. So getting Graham Barton in the first round now, I mean, drafting in the second round, I mean, Jonathan Brooks, cool. I have no problem with that either.
Really?
No, I don't, because
it would frighten me only. It would only frighten me because of the ACL injury.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, with the running back depth that you have, and of course we mentioned earlier about ACL injuries, like how they come back from ACL injuries, with the medicine and technology and stuff like that, that will work out great for him in the long run if they take care of him like they're supposed to when it comes to like getting that first snap off the football. But I don't mind Jonathan Brooks also either, because this running back depth, I'm not sold on that. I'm really not. And with y'all not even using Deuce Vaughn last season, that really pissed me off a lot. And so just keep that dip open.
I think the lack of the way the offensive line was, I don't think it was that good. And I think the things that they probably wanted to do, because some Reid said with the tight ends not blocking, I thought the philosophy was they was going to run 13 or 12 personnel, move the tight ends, and kind of use them as blockers. But those guys couldn't block. And then you had problems with your offensive line. And I just think like Deuce just never got going. And I also thought they never really used Tony Pollard, not necessarily as a running back, but just as a weapon. So I thought less that they was going to use a guy that they got like in the 6th round. I just didn't think it was going to work out.
With the Tony Pollard thing, he's not a north and south runner.
No, not as a running back.
But
not as a running back, meaning I would have used him sometimes just using him in the slot screens. They just didn't use him as a weapon, not as a running back.
Yeah, they really did.
Just as a weapon.
Yeah, I agree. That too, but it's like he's such a dynamic and quick running back. You don't have to run up the middle with this guy. That's not him. Right. That's not him at all. And yes, I feel like they used him horribly. Even when they do bring in the 2 tight end sets, like we all agree, they couldn't block worth a damn. So they're just out there on the field, just be out there on the field. I've never seen like having Tony Pollard back there picking up blocks like that. Like I was like, yeah, Dak is doomed every time he drops back to pass, because I don't want my featured running back, who's not even down there, not even 210 maybe, back there picking up blocks.
I think he's a little bit bigger than that. I think he's a little bit bigger than that.
Like that.
He's not big. He's not Zeke. But I think he's bigger than like 210. But he's not a small guy.
No, he's not. But but most of his time on the field was like protecting Dak.
That's true.
And that's not good. I need him catching out the backfield. I need him, like you said, running like lining up at slot receiver like they did Le'Veon Bell in Pittsburgh, which I thought that was fantastic that they did that for him. But once again, get the offensive coordinator, which you got the head coach calling plays anyway. You didn't really use your running backs properly. You can't do that because your offensive line is old and fragile. So that takes away from that. So yes, dream scenario, man. Let's get this center. Let's get this running back in the 2nd round. That's my dream scenario for the draft. Really, I'm really.
So a center, running back, not tackle.
Center, running back.
I don't have a tackle in that mix.
I mean, yeah, you can have a tackle in that mix, of course, but. If I'm going there, I want Graham Barton.
So you want Graham Barton first?
Yeah.
As opposed to All right. He's a good player. He's really good. I want Mims myself or Kingsley, but I would have no problems if Graham is there. I mean, how bad the offensive line? I don't care if they do center. And I'm like Reid. I'm never really a guy who does centers early. I prefer to go late. I like the kid from Georgia. But I agree, he doesn't necessarily fit the profile of what Dallas likes, except for his athletic ability. But they usually do like guys a little bit stockier. I would prefer him, but I have no problem with what you're saying. I agree. Graham would be a tremendous upgrade over. He'll be our best center since Travis, in my opinion. Yeah, like hands down, day one starter. We'll have no problems with him. Dink, dream scenario.
Give me that center, give me a left tackle, give me a running back, and I'm happy.
Okay, well that was pretty easy.
Yeah. All right. But I tell you what, if we can get either Brooks or Benson as a running back, watch out. Watch out. You can't them home run hitters. And also the guy from Reid named him. He named his name from I can't think of his name. Other running back.
So about the kid from Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he ran all over my Wolfpack. I saw that in person. So
he did. He had a good game.
He had a good game. And I gotta throw this guy here. I know how John feel about guys with injuries, but I gotta throw this guy name out here.
Is this the backer?
He's the backer. If he's a late round pick, the Dallas Cowboys should take him. Peyton Wilson can play. I know he has injuries. Hit me out on this.
Injuries. Yeah, that's an understatement right there.
He's got injuries on injuries on injuries.
See, I don't know.
No. I said late pick. To me, it's high risk, high reward.
What's a late pick though? What's a late pick?
5th, 6th, 7th round. Now I don't think he'll go to the 7th round. Yeah. But if that brother make it to the 5th round, I'm grabbing him. I just got to. I mean,
I'll take the card if he makes it to the 5th. I'll take that card up for
okay.
Him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you.
You know what? Even if he's at the 5th, I'll take Nathaniel Watson, the linebacker from Michigan State.
I like him.
Okay. Yeah, he's a tackling machine. He's durable.
Yeah.
Peyton Wilson put up fantastic tape last year.
The guy, but this is why I like
it's a high collision position, and that guy is. Yeah. But
that's why I say he's worth the late round pick. And I watched this guy. He has that Sean Lee in him, but he's faster.
You making it worse. He's built like a safety, though.
Yeah, but the cat got that he got that old school mentality. But to me, if the Cowboys took him the 5th, 6th round, I have no problem with it. High risk, high reward. I take it. I would take him. What you gonna lose?
That's true.
Him. You're gonna lose him. I don't think he. And I'm not. I don't want to be negative.
Maybe.
I don't. Yeah, I don't want to be negative or say anything bad about a player. This is going to be a big moment for him.
Yeah.
But the way his built, I would be real concerned. Like Reid wrote about bigger backers that they're looking.
Yeah.
This team needs to get some size at the front seven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we need size. He's my pet cat, is what I would call it.
I know you love him. I love him.
But
he's built like a safety.
Yeah.
He has
and you know what?
Build.
I could see him moving to safety. I really could see that happening. You know, he's just like a pet cat. Somebody.
I get you.
He's great. Yeah.
He has fantastic tape, Dink. I loved his tape last year.
Yeah.
And I love the dude from Michigan State too. I love the guy from Michigan State. He's, he has everything you want to, man. You know, Peyton Wilson played at State, little pet cat. That's all. You know, I had to throw that out there.
No, I get you. I love that player. I mean, but I'll take him or not Peyton. I would take either, like I said, Watson from Michigan State, or I'll take Junior from Michigan. If you just want a big time thumper, inside Mike.
Oh yeah,
get some size. What is he? I think he's 240. They need to get bigger. Last year was just for the last couple of years getting run over like that is demoralizing.
Right.
That just takes away your will. I think we need to get much bigger. But
if you think about every time we lost a game, we got ran over. San Francisco did it. Green Bay did it. Arizona did it. Who else am missing? Somebody else did it.
Buffalo did it. Chicago did it. But we just happened to warn. It was just too many people doing that. And that was the counter to the pass rush because we was doing that and teams decided to run as opposed to throw, and then they found out they could run on us. And that pretty much was a wrap after that. So, nightmare scenario. Reid, what would be the worst possible outcome in this draft?
It would be. Let's start with drafting a linebacker too early and never solving the defensive tackle issue, because a linebacker is only as good as his tackles up front. We can't. It doesn't matter if you're 240, 250 pounds. It's really hard to take on those 325-pound guards if they're breaking free like they did last year. You just can't sustain that.
Yeah, you just can't.
So they have to work together. Like if you're going to invest a top pick, and the Cowboys scouted, if you look through their 30 visits, there's a lot of guys going to go in the second round, a lot of linebackers that are going to go in the second round. If the Cowboys actually invest a second-round pick on a linebacker, which there's a good possibility they will, and they don't adequately address the defensive tackle position, I consider it a complete waste.
I agree with you. Yeah, that's kind of like when we got a lot of corners, but we didn't have anything at the defensive line. You got corners trying to cover for 7 seconds. That's just not going to work. Byron, worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario. I really don't want to be correct about this because it's a nightmare scenario. If the Joneses trade up in this damn draft, and for some reason they add Trey Lance in the mix, like just a whole bunch.
You mean give away Trey Lance?
Yeah, just give away Trey Lance and they move up in the draft and they draft a running back. It's the most Jerry Stephen Jones thing I ever seen. And I won't be highly surprised about that. Like Reid, don't trade nothing, okay? Stick to the game plan. Stop being all high and mighty. Stop being a seller. Stop taking over the war room like that. That would be my nightmare scenario if these Cowboys trade up and just do the most dumbest thing I ever seen and just get, let's just say they'll get Jonathan Brooks the first round.
Oh wow!
Or you know what I'm saying, something like that. Please, let's just cut the madness here because I know how these guys are and I know how this team is. Get the best player available. Leave stuff alone. and just build your team up. That's my nightmare scenario.
Yeah, I hope that one don't come. Yeah, you two are really giving me nightmares. Yeah, that would be horrible.
But you asked for this though. You asked.
I know. But yeah, that would be really bad if they traded up. They got a running back like in the top 10, and it's Jonathan Brooks. No disrespect to Jonathan Brooks. I think he's a fantastic player. But yeah, the positional value of that would be
Not at all. But Jerry has that bias with Arkansas players too.
He does.
So if he does something with a Texas guy or an Arkansas guy, then I won't be surprised.
He hasn't did anything like that in a while, though.
I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, he hasn't did anything like that.
I think that's Steven's work.
Yeah, I think they're gonna allow the draft to come to them. I just agree with Reid. I hope they don't go for need and then overreach, like at linebacker, and they don't complement or they don't address tackle.
Right.
They think Akeem Richards is the guy that can play left tackle.
Right.
Not to say that he can't develop into something, but last year I still think he's a ways away from being able to contribute at left tackle. Or they decide to put Tyler outside and use TJ Bass at left guard, and they decide to put Smith there. And I think they already have what they have. That would be bad.
John, you name the stuff that you know they're gonna do. That's why
I'm just naming stuff I've seen. I'm just naming stuff I've seen them do.
I know.
It just doesn't kind of work out.
And I'll tell you what, if they do go with a center in the first round, that's absolutely what they're gonna do. If they go Graham Barton or Jackson Powers Johnson or Zach Frazier, those are my top three. If they go with one of those guys in the first round, they're going to move Tyler Smith. And TJ Bass is going to slide into there.
And that's why I want tackle first.
Right.
I don't want to reach for a tackle, but I want tackle. If they take tackle first, then that's showing me where they're going. Because I don't want to get a center first. I think Graham Barton's a stud. I think he is. But if they take center first, that is exactly what I believe they're going to do. I think you go tackle first. And honestly, I don't even want to go running back or linebacker in the first 3 rounds. I'd rather go interior, whether that's
I'm with that.
Whether it's on the defensive end, either way, get big first 3. You can get skilled. You can find a running back late. But I agree with Reid. I hope they trade back, get an extra 4 back. You can use that 4th round pick on a running back. The last running back they picked in the 4th round, I think was highly productive with DeMarco Murray.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have to get a backer in the first, but it's just whether or not, like you said, the scheme that they do, there are backers out there. Avoid the kid from Wisconsin. I agree. No disrespect to Braylon Allen, but I don't think he's the guy. He looks great on cut up, but if you look at his tape during his games, there are times that he struggles, and I don't think he'll be a fit for us. But that would be the thing that would frighten me. I'm serious, man. I don't keep Tyler at left guard and get
you nightmares, man. You gonna give us
a nightmare. but it's a possibility. You just don't know. I mean, they hold on to players either too long, and they don't never see. I don't have a problem moving on from players, but I just think the last 2 years, they could have traded some of the players we had, acquired picks, and we would have been in a better position later on. I like to have. Something Reid said, I love what he said. I think he said the top 3 and 1. I like to have a lot of picks in the top 100. I like to try to find as many picks I can get in the top 100. You can really do a lot of things in the draft, but I don't. And this year, I don't want to just disregard if you have a 5th round pick. You can find good players in the 5th round. I don't want them to just. I don't want them using anything for projects. Get the best football player in the 5th round, regardless of position. Give me somebody that's a really good football player. I don't want measurables. I don't care about speed and all of that. I care about what the guy's putting on tape. That's what I hope they do, but we'll find out if that's what they're going to do. Think worst case scenario.
Man, they overreach for need, brother, and they bypass best player available. That would be a nightmare scenario. It's nothing worse than when you go for need because, like you said before, you get a guy that's ranked number 10 in his position, and that's where you'll get him. And I don't want us to do that, man. That right there would drive me crazy. Or Jerry do something stupid,
and trade up,
and go get somebody that we don't need. That's what would drive me crazy. And I would put my robe on and give me some moonshine. I would cut up and make a video because I would be sad for days.
All right, here's a question: what about if a quarterback falls to 24?
If it ain't Dan Marino, if it ain't Jim Kelly, if it ain't
well, those guys don't exist. But what if a quarterback falls?
I gotta know what their plan is with Dak Prescott because I really don't know.
Yeah.
If their plan is to move on from Dak Prescott next year,
go ahead.
Then I say, well, first I would say trade him. I know he has a no trade clause, but if somebody's willing to offer the money, he's going to accept it. Todd France is going to accept it, and they're going to go. But other than that, like if we're just going to let him walk for nothing or a 3rd round comp pick or something ridiculous, then I wouldn't be opposed to picking a quarterback if the right one. I like Penix. If Penix fell somehow to 24, I would take a stab at Penix. But I don't see any reason why it would be smart to say, Dak, this is your last year, and then you're going to go for nothing, and then we're not going to trade you, and we're still going to start you. Like, I have no interest in going one last half-hearted effort with Prescott.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
And then I would rather just suck this year and break somebody else in and start over that way, or commit to Dak. And
you know what's crazy about that when the Packers drafted Jordan Love and they talked to Aaron Rodgers before they made that pick, and they asked Aaron Rodgers, hey, what do you think the Packers need? He clearly said receiver. Then they turn around and drafted Jordan Love anyway.
I see, and you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Last year, when he made the trade for Trey Lance, if they really want to move on, I've told Dick this. I said, I know he doesn't have a non-trade clause. The best thing we do is to start this year and just tell him we're going with Trey Lance.
And I freaking agree. So when they traded for him, I was cool. I was like, okay, they have their quarterback for the future. That's what I was thinking at first.
Right.
When it came to this situation. You got Cooper Rush. Okay, cool. He proved to be a great backup. But you traded in and got Trey Lance. I was content with that because, okay, I feel like that was a smart move. They're going to move on from Dak.
That's what I thought.
Down the line. But I'd seen how that contract and what the trade was for. I was like, okay, I don't know what the hell they're doing now.
Right. To me, it was an impulse buy. It's kind of like one of them things that look good buying it, and then now when you have it, it doesn't look as good. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up with one thing because I know some of you guys are very, I would say pessimistic, but you have a not positive. I would say that you don't think things are going to go the right way. But hypothetically, what if things do go the right way and they hit all 3 starters, and the Dallas Cowboys ended up in the Super Bowl?
Well, we've seen him in the Super Bowl. You got to ask Reid how he gonna feel because I don't think
I know. Wait a minute, how old is Reid? How old are you, Reid?
I've seen him in the Super Bowl.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I was born in the Jimmy Carter administration.
Ooh. Man,
yeah. See, Dick make it seem like you a baby.
I thought he was real young because his handle had something with 89 on there, so. I thought you were way younger than us, man. And then you look young.
Yeah, he makes it seem like you've been covering them since like
growing my beard
2004 or something.
I'm gonna tell you, he had something. Is either his Twitter handle or something had 89 in it. I'm like, well, he must be a baby, man, or something.
Maybe
he looks young.
Maybe that's his address.
He does. I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest guy on this panel, by the way.
How do you know
I'm the
that?
youngest.
How do you know that though?
My birthday is on Leap Day, February 29th. So that technically makes me. I'm the youngest guy on this panel. Okay.
Okay, technically you're the youngest.
So Reid, you more close to my age than I thought.
Yep.
You know what, Dink? You just look really old.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's just the thing, probably.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is with the gray hair and everything. Yeah.
But I mean, what if?
Reid has seen the Super Bowls. Okay.
No, but what if that does happen? What if they go to the Super Bowl?
I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm losing my mind, bro.
I mean, what would be how would you go about doing it from there, like with the team? Now I know I'm going so far ahead. I like to play the season out.
Wait, so
But
if you said if we won the Super Bowl next year, what would I do? I mean, as a team,
no, if they get to the Super Bowl, whether they win it or lose it, where do you think they go from there?
Oh, they're gonna sign Dak Prescott to a long-term extension. That's what they're gonna do. That's gonna be their first priority. They're gonna and
it'll be too late.
You're gonna lock him up forever.
He won't do it. If they wait that long, and they go to the Super Bowl, he won't do it.
You don't think so?
Yeah, because the price goes up.
The price goes up.
That price goes up. They do.
But you got your quarterback that took you to the Super Bowl and won it.
Oh yeah, they might want it. They might want to sign him, but Dak doesn't have to sign it. If they go into this season without a deal for Dak, he has no reason to stay.
You don't think you don't? Well, wow. Hope you have
for him to be able to go in unrestricted free agency as a franchise quarterback.
You can't tag him either, Dink.
Cowboys can't tag him.
I know we can't tag him.
If there's a bidding war, good Lord. And then there will be. Like there's general managers out there every year who have one more chance. They're gonna lose their job. They will trade or they will pay anything to get a franchise quarterbacks just don't hit free agency very often.
You know what? I wouldn't blame Dak either. I wouldn't blame him either, man.
I wouldn't blame him.
I wouldn't blame him.
Either. Same.
All right. So with that being the case, is it the last year for Prescott in Dallas?
Yes.
I don't think so. I'm going 60. I'm going 60-40. He gets
60-40 right now.
He gets signed in training camp.
Yeah, 60-40. Like I said, he's a top 10 quarterback. Could have won an MVP if you ask me. If you want to be real about it,
yeah.
You're not. Jerry is a hype machine personified. If Dak sucked, that's one thing. I just can't see him not re-signing Dak. I just can't see it happening until I see it. So I think he'll be back next year until proven differently. You know,
DeMarcus Lawrence.
But
I hope so.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I hope so too.
Hope so and will. We're not dealing with hope, fellas.
I know. I'm thinking. I'm stalling, John.
You know what? I think he's also going to. I think this is like how I think like how they didn't do anything this free agency, getting any big names. Also, how this draft is going to go, and also with Dak, also with DeMarcus Lawrence, CD Lamb, also with Micah. I agree with Dink. I think they're going to get their deals re-signed. But I think with Dak and with DeMarcus Lawrence, I think this may be their last right here. Depends on how everything goes, because how this roster is being set up, I think it's set up for the Joneses to tell Dak, like, hey, if you really want this other deal, you got to make this happen with what the hell we finna give you. All right,
we don't know what he has just yet though, because we still got to go through the draft.
Yeah, after the draft, of course.
Yeah,
but the way free agency going right now, and seeing how this draft is gonna go, that's how I really feel about the situation. I feel like with this all-in crap that he keep on saying, he's really telling that crap to Dak. Like, hey, you need to be going all in with this roster we finna present to you after this draft at training camp.
So, Zach Martin.
Ooh.
Done. I think he retires.
Yeah, he retires last year. Hall of Famer. He's gone.
Hall of Famer. First ballot.
First ballot, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, first because ballot. I do think they're going. I think they're reacting to what happened with Green Bay. If you look at it, like Green Bay ate a lot of money, and if I'm not mistaken, 16 out of 22 of their starters are draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And it just looks at it for me. It looks like they're reacting to what happened, and they're deciding they're going to go. Now, I don't necessarily know if it's going to work, but I believe 2 out of the 3 of those guys are gone. I think this is DeMarcus Lawrence last year. I think this is Zach Martin, especially the way they did Zach Martin's deal and how they actually saved money last. I'm like, this is it. To me, this is it. And I believe the same way as with tackle, there's a kid named Darius Robinson. If they draft him, to me, that's a wrap for Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do believe that they're probably going to move on from him. It's just something just tell. The Prescott thing, I'm up in the air because lately the Joneses have lied. Remember when they talked about Zeke? Oh yeah, he's going back. They cut him like a week later.
Yeah.
They've been praising a lot of their veteran guys and kind of walking away from them. I wouldn't be surprised if they ate Prescott's thing. It's the Trey Lance thing that's a little interesting to me, like whether or not they're going to move on. Hypothetically, let's say they extend Trey Lance. Let's just say they do a 3-year extension. Say it's very friendly. Would that be a signal that Prescott's time is gone?
It could be,
Yes.
but Trey Lance couldn't even beat out.
No. I'm not saying who he beat out. Then
Right.
I'm not going into that part.
Right.
I'm just saying the signal part of it. I don't think he's a better quarterback than Prescott. He's just more athletic than Prescott. But that doesn't mean he's a better quarterback. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if they do that, is that a signal that they made this? Because they've been praising him a lot, which they do with all their players.
Right.
It just makes me think, what if they extend him first?
Well,
Because you got to realize this is his last year too. They're not gonna do a 5th-year option with him. There's no way.
If they extend him, it's for him to be a backup. That's how I would take it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, let's set the scene. So if this is, we're talking in training camp, and let's say Trey Lance is playing good. Let's say not great, but he's playing good. No deal done for Dak yet. They give him, you say, a 3-year extension.
Yeah, I'm just throwing 3. That sound kind of like what they may do.
Right. So let's say, where's my over under? Because you get what you pay for, and money plays in Dallas. So if it's over $10 million a year, over $7 million a year, then I would be then that's more than backup money. Then I'd be like, they're trying to save a lot of money. They are gonna, because you're not gonna pay Dak and pay somebody a lot of money like that.
No, you're not.
Especially a project guy.
Right.
But if they extend him and he's making $2-3 million a year, then I don't think that has any influence on Dak at all.
I agree.
Yeah, I got you.
I
That makes sense. That
makes sense. I agree too.
That's how I see it. That in that scenario, like you just stated.
Right, and I don't think potentially trading him right now is going to get anything. I mean, you just traded Justin Fields and for a 6th round. He's more accomplished. What are you going to do with a guy that's only played 4 games? I just think that was a bad trade. I liked it like you did, Byron, but it's like if you're not going to go ahead with him, then it's just
what's the point?
You just blew a 4th round.
Right, and it's just irritating now. You know what I'm saying? It's just in the back of your mind, like, why, bro? Why?
You haven't seen.
But why did they wait so late to extend that? I mean, we talked about this, Reid, in Dak's first contract. Why they wait so late? Like,
can I try to answer that? But these two guys are smarter than me in this.
Yeah, y'all go ahead. Anybody can answer.
I'm going to take a guess, and they can tell me whether or not I'm right or wrong. It appears to me that they like to win the deal because if you notice, their players, they do sign fast. They did Jalen Smith, Collins, but I think they got those guys at the top of money that they wanted, and they waited on everybody else. It's not just that. It's like, remember when they traded for Amari Cooper?
Yep.
I mean, tell me, how many times do you trade for a star player and you don't extend him? I mean, you ever seen that happen? You just trade for a guy. Maybe you get a guy for 1 year. That's a mercenary. Mm-hmm. But I think he had 2 years for us. So you waited. You let him play his contract out. And then you was playing against yourself. He wasn't going anywhere else. And then you give him $100 million for 5 years. Whereas if you would have extended him before you got the trade from the Raiders, you probably could have got him under $12 million a year. Yeah. So I think the reason they waited with Prescott, I personally told people I think they should have extended him in his 3rd year. I wanted to give him a 5-year deal, $100 million guaranteed. Everybody was like, "Oh, you crazy?" I'm like, "It's $20 million. That's nothing." Right.
Yeah.
But they waited. I just think they like to win the deal. Like I said, Reid and Byron will know more than me in this, but it's just me looking from the outside in because they do get deals done if it's the number that they like. The ones that take a long time is because they're not winning the number, and then they play. Which fans will fall for this. Then they'll do, it's a little piece of the pie. Everybody can't have it. And then they want fans to turn against the players. And I'm always like, well, that's not the players' fault. You got to manage the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always point out, remember everybody, the owners created the salary cap so they could make the players the bad guy and not them. And those owners fall back on it. Oh, our hands are tied. You tied him.
You tied him.
Didn't Jerry?
Thank
What
you.
did
Jerry? Jerry was the one.
Wasn't it Jerry the one that spearheaded the salary?
Yes,
Jerry.
Yes, Jerry was the one that did all this.
This was Jerry.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, John. The team, the ego is so big, they have to win the negotiation. And it's also in their character to wait until the 11th hour. They don't like to bat. They don't like the song and dance of batting around numbers. They want to wait till the 11th hour because deadlines make deals. They say this almost every year. That's why that's why Dak hasn't had an offer. That's why Micah and CD haven't had actual results in contract negotiations, because the Cowboys are just going to wait until the end. And it works sometimes. I mean, think about how they handle signing their draft picks. Every year, we start seeing the little ticker coming in. Oh, this team signed this person. This team signed this person. The Cowboys are the only team in the NFL who hasn't signed a single draft pick. And then it's like 2 days before training camp starts, and it's like all of a sudden the windfall of signings hits, and everybody's signed. That's because the Cowboys just like to wait until the 11th hour. They don't like foreplay. They just want to get to the bing, bang, boom.
Oh, you're right.
That's where it is.
No, he's absolutely right.
And no, Reid is right, because they kind of how they did like Zach Martin last year.
Yeah,
they didn't do his deal until training camp started.
Yeah,
and you know what? Before that,
and you know what they risk with that is, I know people was looking at Justin Jefferson as being temporary to CD because they came out the same class, but I've always told people sometimes the guy that's a tier under those players will get a monster deal. And then now you already know what the bar is. Like, no disrespect to the kid from Detroit. I think he just got paid an average, at least with his deal, it's like $30 million.
St. Brown.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he's cold too. Yes.
Right. Yeah. He's a good player. But based on Lamb and Justice, their stats are much more higher. So they're not taking less than 30.
No.
But if you would have got ahead of the bar, you could have signed one of them for 30.
And there's a problem because all the top receivers. This reminds me, you all know this, the Dez Bryant thing. There were a bunch of top tier wide receivers were all hitting the mark at the same time, and no agent wanted to be first. Everybody wanted to see somebody else do it so they could try to jump that a little bit. And that's the same thing here. All these top guys are all, and I think they're all represented by the same agency too, which makes it even worse. So they're all going to have. CeeDee Lamb is the one that I'm worried the least about. He's the guy who I think is going to be done at the 11th hour. And if anything else, we're just going to franchise tag him. I think the team is absolutely committed to him. Micah, I have a little bit of questions about his long-term spot on the team, and Dak also.
Okay.
I agree.
Makes sense.
It's just the way they handle business, man. I don't know why they do it. I always think by the third year, you should already know whether or not you wish to extend a player.
Yeah, we wrote several articles about Dak back in this, I think 2018, when he really came out and just was balling. And Reid wrote a good article about it. I wrote an article about it. And we could not, for the love of God, we was like, what are they waiting on?
Yeah.
That's just how they do business.
Yeah.
It's just the Joneses, man. That's just how they do it.
Yeah. And not to sound like an apologist for the front office either, though, but Dak's representation is equally as annoying as the Cowboys are with negotiations.
Oh yeah.
They are hard.
Yes, sir.
Oh, definitely.
Steven and him hate each other, as far as I understand. And
really?
That is what I've heard. And there's bad blood, and they both are obsessed with winning. So these are two bulls colliding, and both of their egos are ahead of the outcome of the Cowboys and the outcome of Dak Prescott. I think that's my personal take.
I guess. Yeah.
I agree. And I'm not blaming Dak, but I always say this. Sometimes the player just got to come in and just say, look, I want this. I can't have everything, but just get these things done. Yeah. I mean, but once again, I get if he wants to sit back and just let his agent do his work. I mean, most of these guys should be represented by whoever's the agent for Kirk Cousins. That guy.
I said it before.
Whoever that guy is, That's
Man,
the guy
look.
that should be the head of the Players Association.
That guy,
No,
he's made a lot of money, man.
that guy needs a Hall of Fame jacket. That's
Yeah.
what he needs.
I've never.
He needs that ASAP.
He gets
He
Kirk
gets
Cousins paid, and he
Yep.
gets it. He gets his deals done, and we just move on.
Yeah.
But unless you guys have something else, it has been a pleasure that you came on for my little podcast where I have like 15 subscribers. But this was a thrill of mine to be able to talk to all three of you. I talked to Dick a lot, but Reid, Byron,
Yeah.
I hope we can do this again. I find a way
Absolutely.
to schedule.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. But if any of you guys have subjects you want to talk about before we wrap, I am more than welcome and open to it. Anything on tap? Anybody has any last words or something they wish to do? Or...
I just I want to say this. I believe think Jake Ferguson's going to have a breakout year.
I agree. I think he's ascending. He is a really good player.
Him or somebody else. I don't know who the other person could be, but I think it might be one more player. I don't know who that'll be though. But I can
Sam Williams. You think Sam Williams?
Yeah, Sam got talent. He's undisciplined. That's his only problem.
It's just up there. Yeah, that's on him. Yeah.
The knucklehead. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he has the right coach coming in. He has the right coach.
Yeah. He's talented. He's just undisciplined. That's his only problem.
Yeah.
Very undisciplined. I think he gets that under control. He could be that ascending player too.
Gotcha. Byron, any closing thoughts?
I'm with Dink with Jay Ferguson, man. Like he showed me so much last season. And I guess I'll make a bold prediction here. If he ends up the starting running back for this football team, Rico Dowell will have 1,000 rushing yards. That's just a bold prediction for me. I did like him. I like him
too.
Yeah.
I don't know if
it's just a bold prediction. I'm trying to give him some kind of confidence.
You did say that.
If not 1,000, maybe 900, maybe. But that's just my bold prediction. But man, I'm all on the Jake Ferguson bandwagon, man. Dude's gonna be a Pro Bowler.
Oh yeah, I'm on it.
Dude's good, man.
Yeah, I don't like to beat my chest, but I think I called this out right for sports. I wrote an article about this a long time ago. I don't know if you remember, but I called this on Ferguson. I said he's gonna be legit. Yeah.
I thought it was the other guy. I thought it was the other tight end that you liked a lot.
Oh no, I liked him a lot too. But when I wrote the article, it was 2 years ago. We were drafting them, and I predicted Jake Ferguson was going to be a beast because I saw him.
Nah, he's a nice player.
Yeah.
I really do like him. They really hit on him. Yeah. He's a really good player. I think he is the emotional leader. Reid hit on it earlier. I thought he was the best
Reid the man.
Reid
hit on everything. That's the man.
I think he was the best player for us in the playoffs. I thought he was outstanding. So yeah, they did a really good job. Reid, anything in closing?
Parting take would be when you're watching the draft, just remember that good players aren't always obvious in the draft. And they have a way, even poor value picks, even if they upset us and pick poor value positions right away or do something that doesn't make sense or could have been done better, great play will make us forget everything. So I think we should all just keep our sanity, because something is going to happen, and it might happen in half a dozen different takes. Yeah. That's going to upset all of us, that we're going to get so upset about. Let's all just take a drink of whiskey and swallow it down and say, if the player ends up being
but I don't do that anymore. Like I used to lose my mind emotionally, but I've become like detached from that.
Yeah, I'm content too, because it's like y'all are, I mean, because people make like 15 mock drafts every year. Yeah. And I was like, okay, you're not gonna hit on every pick every night, okay? It's cool. Right. You know what I'm saying? Let's not overreact. But Reid, speaking of whiskey, let's do a drinking game, because you know how Mel Kiper and all these cats be predicting these guys, and he's a gym rat, he's a fast runner. He has sticky hands for gloves. Like he has, great hip turn ratio. I think we should take a shot every time they do stuff like that with these.
I'll be drunk.
Draft
oh man, I have some whiskey. If
Yeah, I'm
it's Jack
not
Daniels,
doing
I'll be drunk.
No, I'm not doing that.
I have 3 article deadlines after the draft. There's no way I can do both.
Yeah, I'm
Hey
not doing
man,
that.
You
Has
got
Mel
3?
Kiper ever
Three articles?
has Mel Kiper been right about any of his? I'm just trying to think. Has he?
He hasn't been right about his
no.
hairstyle.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
just yeah yeah you're right. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah,
I mean, I just can't remember him being right about any of that stuff.
nah, man.
You know what? You know what? I think he was right about Tyler Smith. He was breaking the story like 48 hours before the draft. He was linking the Cowboys to Tyler Smith, calling Tyler Smith a fast riser. So I guess the sun shines. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I like Tyler from last year. I think he was a great pickup for us.
Oh, yeah.
I just hope they continue.
Yeah.
Huh? What'd you say?
He's only getting better. Tyler's only getting better, man.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
just hope they continue to do that. I like my offensive lineman with defensive lineman mentality, and we haven't had that since 2016. So I do agree that we need to do that. But we'll see. We're gonna find out. Well, the X app will be live.
Oh yeah,
tomorrow all the way to Saturday. Yeah, and fans will overreact. But thanks for everybody for tuning in. I mean, I've seen our 3 Super Bowls. I saw them when I was still a young man. So
I saw him. Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah.
I even saw him lose to the Steelers. Yeah, I saw him lose to the Steelers as a little boy.
Man,
yeah.
I know that was tough,
man. Yeah, that was nothing's tougher than the catch. That's still that was, but we'll see. But thank you guys for joining in. This was a pleasure of mine. Yes, sir.
Good seeing you, Reid. Good seeing you too, Myron.
Good seeing you.
Good seeing y'all.
Come down there and hang out with you. And Byron, I got to get your phone number too, man, and follow you and everything. Okay.
Yeah, man,
absolutely.
Yeah, man. Let's get our social media handles and let's follow each other, man. Let's
I'll hit you up.
Let's make stuff work.
I'll hit you up. Yeah, I want to do another one of these. This would be great.
And Reid, keep writing those articles, man. You got some good articles, man. I still read your stuff, man. Great
articles. I appreciate you.
Yeah, and you got your daughter's going into surgery in the morning, right?
Yeah, she is. Yep.
Yeah,
well, I got in my prayers.
Your daughter, man. Yes, most definitely.
All right, sir. Thank you. Thanks everybody for watching, for commenting. We appreciate it. Enjoy the draft. I know I will.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right.